Today, I have something truly exciting to share with you. If you've been keeping your ears to the ground in the world of cameras, you might have already caught whispers of it, but what I've uncovered is shaping up to be one of the most revolutionary camera leaks of 2025. That's right, the long-awaited Sony A7V is finally surfacing, and from everything I've gathered so far, this could completely change the playing field for photographers, filmmakers, content creators, vloggers, and hybrid shooters alike. This isn't just another mid-cycle refresh, this could be the moment the mirrorless camera landscape shifts entirely. Whether you're an established professional, an aspiring YouTuber, or simply a photography enthusiast waiting for the perfect full-frame mirrorless camera to invest in, what I'm about to walk you through may just redefine your upgrade plans. For this year, let's break down why the Sony A7V is not just another model but potentially the best hybrid camera and mirrorless solution for under $3000. The Sony A7 series has always been the backbone of Sony's full-frame lineup, with the A7 III and A7 IV carving out massive market share. Now, the Sony A7V is positioned to push the boundaries even further with a series of rumored features that honestly sound too good to pass up. Let's start with the sensor and performance. Reliable sources indicate that the A7V will boast a 44-megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor. This isn't just a modest upgrade, it's a substantial leap in resolution from the A7 IV's 33MP sensor. Sony isn't stacking this sensor, which means it's not a global shutter, but the real kicker here is the dramatically upgraded image processor that's reportedly capable of an incredible 20 frames per second burst rate. For perspective, that's double the speed of the A7 IV, and it's inching dangerously close to the blistering performance levels we've seen in Sony's flagship A9 series. This kind of speed in a mid-range body? That's unheard of. Sony's AI autofocus revolution, intelligent tracking like never before. But where things get even more interesting is in Sony's aggressive push into AI-driven autofocus technology. The A7V is rumored to include a dedicated AI processing chip designed to supercharge subject recognition, predictive focusing, and real-time tracking. This isn't limited to faces and animals anymore. Sony is reportedly expanding tracking to a much broader range of subjects, including cars, birds, insects, and even small, fast-moving objects. Imagine this: you're photographing a Formula One car zipping across the track, or trying to lock focus on a dragonfly darting through the air. The A7V won't just track it, it will predict where the subject is headed next with startling accuracy. This is no longer traditional autofocus. This is what I would call dynamic autofocus intelligence. We're entering an era where the camera doesn't just react, it thinks ahead. Cinematic video performance, 4K 120 frames per second with no crop for filmmakers and content creators. The A7V is shaping up to be a beast. If the leaks hold true, the A7V will deliver full-frame 4K recording at 120 frames per second, with no crop. Yes, you heard me correctly, no crop. You'll get to utilize the entire width of the sensor while capturing buttery smooth cinematic slow-motion footage. For YouTubers, vloggers, and independent filmmakers, this alone could be a game-changer. Additionally, Sony is expected to include 10-bit 4:2:2 internal recording, S-Cinetone color science, S-Log3, and possibly HLG support. These professional video codecs will allow creators to grade their footage with rich color depth and dynamic range, bringing the A7V closer to the cinema camera category. In fact, it seems like Sony is strategically packing this camera with features that would traditionally only be available on higher-end models like the FX3 or FX6, but doing it for half the price. Let's talk about ergonomics and durability. One of the most appreciated upgrades seems to be the improved build. Rumors suggest the A7V will sport a magnesium alloy chassis, enhanced weather sealing on par with the Alpha 1, and a new flagship-grade electronic viewfinder with 9.44 million dots. What does that mean for you? Whether you're shooting in rain, dust, or extreme heat, the A7V is reportedly designed to hold up. Speaking of heat, Sony has apparently re-engineered the thermal management system with updated internal heat sinks to significantly reduce overheating issues during prolonged 4K video recording or continuous burst photography sessions. Overheating has been a persistent Achilles heel for many mirrorless cameras, but this could finally be Sony's answer. On top of that, the camera is expected to feature dual SD/CF Express Type A card slots for seamless storage flexibility, full-size HDMI port for professional monitoring setups, USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 for ultrafast data transfer and tethering, potential support for direct external SSD recording for extended video shoots. It's clear that Sony is listening to creators, filmmakers, and photographers who want both power and usability. Handling matters, and the A7V seems to be stepping up. Early reports suggest a deeper, more ergonomic grip, improved button layouts, and a fully articulating touchscreen. This will not only make handheld shooting more comfortable but will also make vlogging, selfie shooting, and low-angle filming much easier. Sony's previous generation had already moved in this direction, but the A7V could finally perfect it. Point 1. Of the most remarkable aspects of this camera is the expected price. Leaks point to a launch price between $2,700 and $3,000. That's only a slight increase over the A7 IV, yet the performance upgrades you're getting are staggering. Let's recap what you're potentially getting for under $3,000:44 MP. Full-frame sensor, 20 fps burst speed, AI-powered autofocus with predictive tracking, 4K 120 frames per second with no crop, 10-bit 4:2:2 internal recording, robust thermal management, flagship-grade viewfinder, weather-sealed body, fully articulating touchscreen. When compared to competitors like the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, Panasonic S5 II, and the Nikon Z6 III, the Sony A7V seems poised to dominate the full-frame mirrorless segment. It's not just competing with the market, it's threatening to undercut Sony's own FX3 and Alpha 1, which cost significantly more. The Sony A7V has reportedly been spotted in official product registrations as of May 2025, which means regulatory clearances are already in place. Insiders suggest the A7V could launch as early as September or October 2025, with broader availability likely stretching into early 2026 depending on production volumes and supply chain logistics. That gives you just enough time to start saving up. Plan your pre-order. Consider selling your current gear while resale prices are still strong. Once the A7V hits the market, we can expect older models like the A7 IV, Canon EOS R6, and even entry-level cinema cameras to rapidly lose value. Some industry experts predict potential price drops of 30% to 40% across older models as the A7V sets a new benchmark. Final thoughts, where I'll continue to break down the most exciting releases in the tech and camera world. The Sony A7V isn't